Here is what's coming up in today's Frontline compilation. Twin strikes hit a crowded Kyiv office block, reports blame Russia for killing civilians, and the UN responds with urgent condemnation and calls for accountability. A Ukrainian squad clears a trench and faces a sudden surrender. How they handle the handover under fire is the moment to watch. A line of Russian tanks rolls into open ground as multiple FPV drones hunt overhead. The smokescreen from the lead vehicle sets the stage for what follows. An M1113 armored vehicle pivots to load troops under visible incoming fire. A cut follows as Russian troops appear to close in. Two reach grenade range of the open hatch. This is real footage, no effects, just raw moments from the battlefield. Subscribe to stay updated on every Frontline report and stick around to see it all unfold. Let's get into it. Footage from the BUAR unit of Ukraine's 110th Mechanized Brigade shows drone-dropped munitions aimed at Russian troops and positions. The first drop hits a tree branch mid-descent. It slows or tips the grenade, so it does not function on impact. The device lands and fails to detonate as intended. Subsequent releases avoid the canopy and land clean. Explosions follow at the marked spots, and the strikes neutralize the Russian soldiers. The camera tracks each release from above as charges fall into trenches and near cover. A small Ukrainian drone approaches a battle-damaged building where Russian troops are taking cover. The feed is from the drone strike company of the 47th Mechanized Brigade. The pilot steadies above an opening, lines up the drop, and releases a single heavy charge. The device falls through broken roofing and disappears inside. A blast follows and pushes debris out of the frame. The drone holds position briefly to confirm the hit, then backs away. Given the heavy charge in a small room, the Russian troops inside may be dead. Russian channels post footage they say shows VDV paratroopers stopping a Ukrainian assault in Soledar. The video starts with line charges clearing lanes through mines. An attack helicopter streaks low and ejects flares, likely Russian. Armored vehicles drive into the cleared path and push forward, but incoming fire meets them as they crest the ground. Some vehicles take direct hits and halt. Infantry advances under the bursts and then pulls back as casualties mount. The last shots are wide. A built-up area is covered by incendiary munitions that burn across the scene, likely launched by Russian forces. The Signum drone unit releases a compilation from a fiber optic drone. The view stays steady as the pilot threads the drone across trenches, berms, and tree lines. Short clips show drops on dugouts, vehicles, and small groups of troops. Each segment ends at impact and cuts to the next run. The release states the footage was recorded in the Lyman area. Few sequences show direct hits on Russian soldiers as they move between cover or crowd trench corners. Video from the Ukrainian Army's Novum group tracks a Russian Ural truck as drones close in. The vehicle is hit and catches fire. Flames reach the cargo in the bed, which the caption says is rockets for multiple launch rocket systems. One after another, the stored rounds ignite. The camera holds as rockets fire off from the truck at odd angles, leaving smoke trails and flashes. Secondary bursts continue until the load is spent. The scene is chaotic, but the framing stays fixed on the burning vehicle and the clip ends while the truck still burns. Reconnaissance drone video follows two Russian soldiers moving through a trench while Ukrainian drones attack in quick succession. They hug the trench walls, cut across gaps, and sprint between collapsed walls as blasts chase them. The strikes come one after another, forcing them to change direction and keep moving into the ruined village to stay alive. The footage stays overhead and shows only their route and the impacts behind them. They disappear deeper into the debris as another drone lines up from above, and the chase continues. The release identifies the pair as part of the 35th Motorized Rifle Brigade. Street CCTV in Kyiv records 2 incoming strikes hitting an office building inside the city. The first impact lands near the facade and throws debris across the frame. A second strike follows and strikes the same site from a slightly different angle. After the strikes, thick smoke rises from several floors, briefly clouding the camera view. Debris keeps falling near the entrance as the plume builds. Russian sources claim the target was the office of Ukspec Systems, a company tied to unmanned aerial systems for the Ukrainian military. Reports state that 18 people were killed. Drone footage from Russian sources shows a Ukrainian M1A1 Abrams under heavy fire near Okratine. The tank reverses and turns as rounds hit around it. The crew tries to break contact and move away, but the vehicle is disabled before it can leave the area. After the tank stops, the crew bails out and runs for cover while strikes continue to hit the hull. The camera keeps focus on the vehicle as smoke builds and new impacts follow. The scene ends with the Abrams still under attack. Russian sources released drone footage of mines dropped in open ground to build a randomized minefield. The drops are spaced across fields and paths to stop movement by the opposing force. From the shapes in the video, some drops appear to be PFM-1 petal mines. Though the footage alone is hard to confirm, the view stays overhead as the drone scatters items and the pattern spreads. After the war, patrols return grid by grid to tape off fields and post warning signs. But unfound mines still injure civilians years after fighting ends. Fields stay idle, repairs slow, and whole blocks remain avoided. This method halts movement in war, but the consequences continue after the war. Ukrainian infantry storm a Russian trench and force a surrender. The camera follows as the squad moves along the firing line and closes on dugouts. Several Russian soldiers come out and give up. The scene shifts to managing detainees under pressure, while the area is still dangerous. The description notes that being captured raises their chances of survival for now. Later, when they are exchanged and returned to Russia, they will likely be sent back to the front. The footage stays focused on the handover and movement along the trench. Video from a Russian drone unit shows 2 Ukrainian snipers caught in the open. The first FPV strike hits near them and seems to wound one of the pair. They move behind a vehicle for cover, but another FPV drone arrives moments later. The second drone dives in and detonates close to both men behind the car. The blast is heavy and the clip cuts fast. The description says the first hit did not finish the job and the second likely killed them. Reconnaissance drone footage from Russian sources shows intense shelling of Vovchansk. The clip opens with smoke already across the area, and one building is on fire. Artillery and airdropped munitions strike across the town in rapid sequence. Impacts walk through streets, yards, and buildings, and fresh strikes follow in the same blocks. The volume of fire is heavy and sustained. The video suggests that movement above ground is unsafe, and only dug-in positions might provide cover. Explosions keep flashing across the frame while smoke builds over the roofs. Footage released by Ukraine's 45th Separate Artillery Brigade shows counter-battery strikes against a Russian gun line. Drones locate the positions, and then precision munitions land among the pieces. One by one, guns and their emplacements are hit. Crews scatter between impacts as more rounds arrive. The sequence moves down the line until multiple weapons are knocked out. The description states that 6 artillery pieces are destroyed by the end of the run. The camera keeps returning to burning positions, while fresh detonations hit adjacent sites. A swarm of Ukrainian FPV drones tracks a column of Russian tanks moving in the open. The lead vehicle throws a smoke screen to hide the following tanks, but it does not help. Drones close the distance and hit the armor one after another. Vehicles stop and burn as more strikes land. According to the sources, surviving crew members dismount and try to move away. Additional drones are directed at those men after the vehicles are disabled. The column is taken apart in sequence, and the open terrain offers little cover. A Russian UAV team is found by Ukrainian observers. The video shows a Russian soldier walking into the road to pick up a recently landed drone, then returning toward a dug entrance. 2 Ukrainian FPV drones are used against the site. The first strike blows the outer door off the bunker. The second drone flies into the opening and detonates below ground. After the strike, smoke pours from the entrance and the screen fills with it. The close blast likely kills the soldier who had just returned. Members of the Russian Pseudoplatov drone unit release a montage of strikes on Ukrainian troops, vehicles, and positions. The clips move quickly from one target to the next. FPV drones and dropped munitions hit trenches, dugouts, and equipment. Each impact is shown from above, followed by smoke and debris. The sequence shows repeated attacks across a wider area. Because of these attacks, soldiers are killed or brutally injured, and damaged positions are left smoking as the feed jumps to the next scene. The montage ends while fresh detonations are still rolling in. Ukrainian FPV drones hunt Russian soldiers in open ground and thin cover. One man spots a drone and moves into a small grove, keeping tree trunks between him and the device. While he watches the first drone, a second comes in from behind and hits him. Another sequence shows a Russian soldier pulling off his plate carrier and waving it at an approaching drone as he backs away. The clips show how multiple drones pressure movement and force mistakes. The chase does not pause, and another drone turns in. Drone footage from Wargonzo shows a Ukrainian M1113 trying to evacuate troops under fire. The front of the vehicle takes direct hits, and small arms impacts land around it. The commander turns the hull so the open rear faces the direction of incoming fire. Troops loading are exposed at the hatch and along the ramp. The vehicle is disabled. A cut follows, and it appears Russian soldiers close the distance. Two reach grenade range of the open hatch. 2 grenades go inside. If anyone remained in the back, they likely did not survive. Footage shows a 3-man Russian fire team targeted by FPV drone strikes. 2 of the men take cover by trees, but one is hit by the first blast and catches fire. A third man moves toward a small utility buggy and lies still to avoid being seen. He is struck next from behind and collapses with a severe back injury, and his leg also catches fire. The second man's fate is not clear in the cut, and holds on the impacts before cutting away. Drone video captures the moment a Russian soldier triggers an IED near a disabled tank. The device is visible above ground, and 3 soldiers pause before 2 step forward. The first lifts it without protection and sets off the blast, killing himself immediately. The second is mortally wounded, moves on the ground, and appears to cry out in pain. A third man runs from the frame. The camera keeps recording as the scene unfolds, and the wounded soldier moves for a time before going still. Footage shows Russian soldiers caught in the open as Ukrainian armed drones approach. In the first 2 sequences, the targets throw rocks, wave sticks, and point with empty hands at the device, but the drone keeps its line. Attacks land near them and along their path. They sprint and scatter across bare ground with little cover. The pattern repeats with short approaches and bursts on impact. The final shot shows a soldier running to save his life as the drone attacks, and the clip ends on that strike. The strike either kills him or leaves him severely injured. An observing drone near Kostiantynivka, Donetsk, records a Ukrainian soldier placing an anti-tank mine against a Russian-held pillbox. The next cut shows the structure almost leveled. This method has seen broad use on both sides, and here it removes the occupants and the fighting position in one move. The view stays overhead while dust and debris settle around the site. The approach is careful, with the soldier moving in and back out of frame. What remains is a rough footprint and scattered materials. The tactic is direct and effective in this case. Ukraine's 73rd Naval Center for Special Operations appears throughout this compilation. The unit specializes in amphibious insertion, reconnaissance, and operations, roughly similar to a Navy SEAL team. In Sumy, they are shown conducting route reconnaissance, laying mines, and supporting conventional infantry. Shots move from waterlines and crossing points to tree lines and roads. Teams place charges, mark routes, and relay information. It shows how naval SOF backup line units with mobility and shaping work. A Russian BMP facing Ukraine's 47th Brigade fires on the move, then runs over a mine and stops. Thick smoke is visible from the vehicle. A later shot shows an FPV drone hovering at the rear. It angles into the back hatch and detonates. Fire spreads as fuel and ammunition ignite. Flames roll through the hull and out the doors. The vehicle burns in place while the view holds steady. The earlier shot and the final blaze link the sequence, a disablement, then a strike into the hull. The BMP is left consumed by fire. Two Russian soldiers ride a motorbike between positions while mortar rounds land within feet of them. After the first burst, they lose the bike and run on foot. Another strike lands close, and they manage to keep moving. After a few more meters, a round hits near one of the men, and he slips away again. The clip ends with one man dropping a frag grenade into a hole, then diving in a moment after it explodes. A large artillery shell hits the spot. He left almost immediately after he disappears. The near misses stack up across the short sequence. Each escape is by seconds and steps, and the risk does not let up until the cut. That's today's raw footage, no effects and no fluff. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments. More Frontline reports soon.